Hi everyone, Caitlin here with Kate's Collectibles, and today I have got another Marvel character action figure review. So this is the Marvel Select action figure for the Phoenix. I believe it was based on the Here Comes Tomorrow new X-Men storyline. So this is Jean Grey as the Phoenix. There were two variants of this particular action figure. There was one where she is all translucent and fiery, like I have, and there's also one where her body was human looking, so she had her hair color, her skin color, and then the same outfit. So I only have the fiery variant. It's actually, I think, the only version of it I had ever seen in the stores when I was looking at this. The figure itself is very similar to the Black Cat one in that it's just a solid figure. It's really designed more for kind of the look. It's not something you're going to necessarily take out and play with, but it's a little bit posable. So Jean Grey, one of the X-Men, the Phoenix, in case you're not familiar with her for some crazy reason, she's had lots of iterations, lots of coming back from the dead in the comic book series, lots of the Phoenix returning. So the thing I like about the fiery version of this is the base to start with. I'm going to take her off and we'll look at that. So the base has the Phoenix motif. You can see it's got the Phoenix head, the eye, the big wings, the round part where she sits against. You can see in the base there's the spot for her feet. And then the bottom portion. The base itself is a bit of a pain in the butt to put together when you're first doing it. The wings have to snap in, and they're like, I mean, now they're really solid in there. I wouldn't even bother trying to take it apart. I guess you could if you wanted to, but it was a little bit of work getting it to cooperate. There's the back, very similar to the front. Now mine has been on display, so I do have some little marks that I'm pretty confident came from me, not from the factory. So there's, other than the fact that it's a big fiery phoenix on its own, there's not much fancy about this base. It looks mostly cool when you add the figure in. So Jean Grey herself here. The fiery version is really neat for a number of reasons. The translucent skin being one of them. I really like the way it looks, like especially for the black, super shiny, pleathery kind of looking outfit for her. She does not suffer from quite as much ridiculous boobage as Black Cat does. I like the way the hair is all blowing up, and especially in the fiery version, I think it looks really neat because it looks like a big flame on her head. I was looking at someone's review on this figure online, and their head was actually like a really distinctly different colored plastic than her body. And while mine is a little bit of a different color, like theirs was really, really orange. So I'm not entirely sure what happened with theirs because the skin color on mine is not bad. And from the back, so sort of black pleather pant boot combo. And the gloves. The figure herself, with this kind of a material, it's a little harder to get a good focus on the face. There's not much to it, unfortunately. The eyes are blank, so to speak. They're just kind of this whitish, silverish color that's painted inside. The lips are clean on it, same with the eyebrows. She's got kind of a, I'm sure it's supposed to be a menacing expression, but she looks a little bit sleepy to me. I get a decent look at the eyes when I do that. You can just kind of see the reflectiveness of them. A little bit of posability. I mean, obviously the sockets, like the shoulder sockets move. We have movement at the elbow, which is nice. Movement at the wrist. No movement with the fingers. She did not come with any accessories to hold, so that's just how her hand is. There's no thing that's supposed to go into her hands. The waist down, similar, unfortunately, in that, you know, very little movement in the hips. You can actually move the right one way more than you can move the left one for some reason. Like, you know, what in the world that is going to do for me, I don't know. But, and then no movement in the knees, but there is movement in the ankles, and that's essential for posing her properly into the base. That's really the only reason they have any movement. So the figure herself is pretty nice. Now, putting her into the base is a matter of getting her feet in. Let's see if I can get a good shot of me trying to do this. So there's the spot for her feet. So I usually put the bent one in first. You really kind of have to push it in there, tipping her body back as you're doing it. And then holding her, I bend the other one and lock it in, and then push them both in, because usually the one has come out a little bit. And her heel digs right in there, so then you know that you've got it. Her ankle looks a little broken, but that's just the way she looks. And then you can play with posing her. So at this point you can move her around. You can adjust her arms. Yeah, you can make her look pretty neat. The head of the phoenix really vanishes behind her, so it just leaves the illusion of like the flame, the wings kind of coming out from behind her. Since the base is the way it is, I actually wish the wings and the back portion were a bit higher even, so that it was the head of the phoenix was more right behind her head. I think that would have looked really nice. A couple of minor complaints about this figure. With the translucent plastic, obviously in her body you're going to see a bit of that. It's actually not so bad, but the joints that you can see from where the base attaches together in the back piece isn't the best, not my favorite feature. I do like the paint job on her ultimately, because the fiery one really doesn't have much in terms of paint that they could be messing up too bad. And get another expanse of those wings. Now, as someone with a collection, I'm going to focus in on what my most nitpicky thing about this is, and it is dusting it. I don't know if you can see it. In fact, you probably can't. But I hate to dust. It doesn't matter how few figures you have in your collection, they need dusting at some point or another. Even if they're in a box, in a case, gradually over time that set will still need dusting. Just the nature of having a collection, I guess. There you go, another neat shot of her from the side there where you can see the head of the phoenix. So the problem with this figure in terms of dusting it is that there are so many little rivets in this thing. Like it's 3D, which is great, but the ridges are all super small, and especially in her hair, and it has just become a massive dust collector. The thing is a pain in the butt, and I pretty much have to take a toothbrush and some water, or I've tried like paper towel and cloths in the past, but they don't get into the tiny ridges. You could probably use a vacuum attachment on it, but I'd be concerned about scratching the figure itself or scratching the plastic, especially, I mean, you might not notice it where the ridges are, but if you're going, say, across her face and the rest of her at the same time, you might scratch it up. So I generally don't do that. So just forewarning, as neat as this figure is, and I am a huge Jean Grey fan. The Jean Grey is my favorite X-Men, and the Phoenix story is probably my favorite story arc. I'm probably nostalgic for it from the 90s version of the X-Men cartoon. But with this figure, you are going to collect dust. So if you love Jean Grey and you love the Phoenix like I do, this is a wonderful figure to have in your collection as long as you are prepared for that. So in the comments below, let me know which your favorite X-Men character is. You can like this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to catch more of my updates. And you can find me on Twitter at Kait Collectible. Thanks.